Hi guys, I'm Shmee, and how are you guys today? Well, welcome back to the channel, especially you early and regular viewers, where today you are joining me in Marrakesh. It's my first time visiting Morocco, and I'm here today to take a look at the all-new BMW X3. It's the third generation of the car, and today we're going to have a full look around it. I'll show you inside and out, take it out for a drive, and see what this car is like. It shares some similarities and familiarities with the G35 series, but this is the G01 X3. Let's check it out. Now, it may be a fairly early start here in Marrakesh, but the sun is out. It looks like it's going to be a very, very warm day ahead of us, and we're starting off at a fantastic hotel that BMW have brought us to for this adventure, so big thanks to them. But let's take a look around the car and talk about what we're looking at. And this is the 30D, so the xDrive 30D M Sport model of the G01 X3. 30D has 265 horsepower, 620 Newton meters. It will do you 0 to 62 miles per hour in 5.8 seconds. This particular car, as equipped, carries a cost of £55,430 on the UK market. Starts, well, it's about 8,000 of options plus the on-the-road costs to make that possible. This one's finished in the very dark metallic grey, almost black paintwork. It has the Icon adaptive headlights, the very signature BMW front grills with the Airstream, so the flaps will open for aerodynamic efficiency, cooling when required, but otherwise not causing drag on the car. We'll have a look around it in a little bit more details, because you might initially think it's just an X3, but this is now the third generation. The first launched in 2003, they sold 600,000 of those. The second launched in 2010, and they sold 900,000 of them. And this third generation, they're aiming for 1.6 million sales over the life cycle of the car. As you come around, you can see it's sportier looking than before, some slightly more aggressive lines, the shaped rear LED lights. Halogen bulbs, a thing of the past now. It's got a wider rear window to again enhance the sporty look, especially with that spoiler at the rear that dips down towards the center. 18-inch wheels come as standard. This car, the 30D M Sport, has the 20s. Around to the front, there's the air release here for airflow through the swelling in the arches to flow out of the sides there. And around the front, you've got the very distinct lower shape, 3 independent areas, intake shaping areas, I suppose, and fog lights down below, and the eyebrows over those LED lights. So like I said, very distinctly X3. I'll step onto the inside now just to show you around there a little bit more as well. But do let me know your thoughts. Curious to know what you guys think. And I suppose one question on a personal level is, do I one day need an SUV in my life? Should I be looking for a car like this? Always interested to know, so let me know. For the moment, let's jump inside, check out the interior. BMW's line is that this blends luxury with a sense of occasion, which is very much needed in a market that is flooded with alternatives in this segment. You've got the Mercedes GLC, the Porsche Macan, the Alfa Romeo Stelvio, the Audi Q5, the list goes on. But jumping in here, you can see this particular car is finished with a rather nice bright interior to contrast the exterior. It has a very high specification as standard, and we've had a look through a lot of BMW's features and technology side of things before, but you've got a 10.3-inch touchscreen. You can control it either by touch input or also using the iDrive controller. It has a sports steering wheel as standard with multifunction. We've got the digital cockpits, the displays, and if I just start up the car, keyless system, of course, you can see those coming into life. We'll probably get a big blast of air conditioning in a moment. But it has all sorts of technology like gesture control. Just make sure the radio's down, so you can do this to turn up the volume, as you can see, which is always mind-bogglingly cool. It has parking assist package, so I guess if we pop it into reverse, you'll be able to see the camera system, the 360 camera system with self-parking ability, which can connect to the app, so you can park the car and control it via the app, as I showed you with the G35er. And then there are plenty of other creature comfort style things. So BMW have new Vernasca leather. They're talking a lot about how much softer it is on the inside. The panoramic roof that this car is optioned with is 25 centimeters longer than before. It doesn't really have much of a pillar in the way, just the 2 pieces of glass. This one opens and moves back behind the others. So most cars like this have more of a solid structure in the way. We'll jump into the back shortly, but it looks like there's a decent amount of space back there, and the boot has 550 litres, which is rather decent as well. So we're overloaded with technology. It's all becoming familiar and almost standard. There are X3 badges, as you'll probably see later on, pretty much everywhere you look inside the car. But the general finish is quite nice. I mean, it should be. It's a £55,000 car. The dual tone styling with this interior and dashboard is modernised and efficient, but let's stop it off for the moment. Just jump back out to the exterior. There really are these X3 logos everywhere. Up here at the top of the B pillar, you can see it's embossed in there. And one other thing about the interior I didn't talk about was the acoustic glazing of the windows. So the front windscreen has it as standard. The passenger window and the driver window are an option. And I'm looking forward to seeing what that's like when you're driving and how much quieter it makes it on the road. But just a few more words for the moment about the sportiness of the design as we take a look around the outside. The front's presence is enhanced by these new creases and lines, giving the bonnet a little bit more of a bulge. It's wider than the previous X3. It's also perfectly fitted between the X1 and the X5 in the lineup. But interestingly, you now have the X1, the recently announced X2, the X3, the coupe-like X4, the X5, the coupe-like X6, and an X7 concept. So the full lineup of X series cars, which I suppose I should mention, xDrive in every model of the X3, so the 20D, the 30D, the 20i, and the M40i as well, all have all-wheel drive variable. You can have almost 100% front or rear, depending where it needs the traction, which is quite clever. As we come down, it's got a sporty crease again down the side. The roof slopes down towards the Hofmeister kink, along with that spoiler at the rear for sporty looks too. And basically the exhaust pipes down at the back of the car get larger with the different models of car, depending which one it is. So chrome finished, fairly small, sitting inside the diffuser on the diesel engine version of the car. But given SUVs on the whole are purchased for their practicality and ability to be used in all situations, you can see we've got some stuff back here actually, but there's a decent amount of legroom in the back, good amount of headroom as well back here, and it's very, very airy and glassy and open. And then if I come around towards the rear, we have comfort access, so you can wave your foot underneath, and in theory it opens up. There we go. Luggage space opening to reveal the 550 litres back here. So you've got this unit, which can very cleverly be stored under the boot floor. So if you open this, it's gas strut assisted, so you don't have to awkwardly balance your head to hold it up while you're putting things in. Then you can store away the luggage cover underneath should you wish. You've got 40-20-40 split rear seats, so you can fold down any combination of those parts as you like, and it's a very square luggage area, which is great for fitting the maximum things possible into the back of this car, which actually looks really quite practical. You could fit a few of me back here quite comfortably. Not that you really should, he says, climbing in. Yeah, I'm right at home in here in the back of the X3. Easy, simple. Anyway, climb back out. Not too high to load up to the boot floor either. Power fold. Drop that back down into place. So a few other tech things to talk about when we're on the road. I think that's enough of an intro for now. What are your thoughts so far, guys? Let me know down below. I'll jump in the car, take it for a drive.
The road I find myself on is definitely not representative of your typical BMW X3 drive, but the scenery here is astonishing. This is so far from home, and I just have to share a little bit about the car while we're driving over this mountain pass. I mean, from the city, from Marrakesh to where we are now, I've been driving in normal comfort mode. I've put it into sport, of course, for this road. You have slight levels of adaptive suspension, so it firms up a bit. The gearbox mapping changes, of course, so we're a few gears lower than we would have been, and there's decent noise coming out of the car, which is connected through the speaker system. But generally speaking, the drive so far has been very quiet, very comfortable, very easy, very forgiving and relaxed, which is, I mean, what it's supposed to be. I've shown a lot with the G35 series before, my very, very in-depth video with it, covering the levels of technology and features, and this is based on that same chassis and platform and has the familiar engine. So I guess from that side of things, there aren't too many surprises. I mean, technology side, you've got all of the safety systems, you've got adaptive cruise control that works with traffic jam assist, which means the car will stop and start, you stop and go in traffic jams. You've got the head-up display, the 3D head-up display that has a lot of information to see. I think it's the biggest in class. One thing just driving here in the sportier mode is it does seem to go from nothing to kick down loads of gears very, very quickly, but maybe I just need to adapt to the driving style. Every version of the car has the automatic gearbox. They all have the 8-speed auto, and everyone has the paddle shifts as well, so you can't have an X3 without paddles. But generally speaking, it drives along quite a nice way doing this. Yes, you feel it a little bit wallowing backwards and forwards, you know, it's 1800 kilos or so, but just look at these roads. Look at the way this road meanders backwards and forwards. I would not want to be on a bicycle here. riding over the bumps. I would very much like to drive this road in a supercar. Maybe that's one for a day in the future. But with 620 Newton meters of torque, it does get a move on. Plenty of get up and go. Just look at this. The red of the rocks, the buildings up on the top. This is incredible. You have random animals everywhere you go. Donkeys, goats, just tied up at the side of the road. Wow. This is an incredible place to be driving. So sat in the car, it's comfortable and it's well equipped. The navigation system screen is in a good position, easily viewable. The dashboard dials all very self-explanatory. You can change a couple of things. The M40i version has even more by way of M suspension setup. This has adaptive suspension that you can control. The M version would be slightly more tuned to a road like this naturally, as well as having a little bit more power too, about 100 horsepower more than this car, which is always quite nice. But I have to say, it's a very pleasant car to be driving, even on this kind of road when you're throwing around this amount of weight through it. I'm just behind a scooter, which is quite standard here, these little moped things running around everywhere. But anyway, let's head down from the mountains and find, I guess, some more normal roads to talk about the car on. Just pulled over for a moment to take a look at this view. This scenery is just out of this world. It is totally different to anywhere I think I have ever filmed before, and we're under the clouds right now, but just look around. Look at the way the towns and villages are built on the hillside. This is such an awesome place to be driving, and the roads meander, you can see on the other side, mixture of some slightly tarmac, some gravel, some off-road bits. Some places supercars wouldn't necessarily manage to go. Interesting bit of road just up there. I don't think we'll try that right now with the car. It's kind of cool, it's kind of cool. We'll get down. I think I want to drive it more on some regular roads to talk a little bit more about it, but we just had to stop here just to take this in. Given this is an SUV, all-wheel drive, off-road, it had to be tested slightly, and we came exploring and it drove up here more than adequately, which is exactly what a car like this should do, right? On a nice steep incline. So head back down and back to the normal roads. Oh, nearly falling over myself. Hill descent control doing its job. Back down then to some more swooping roads out of the mountains. So let's put it into comfort mode. And there are a couple of modes. You have within Sport and Sport Plus, you have Comfort, which, as the car tells me, is the balanced setting. You also have Eco Pro, which of course will have it always in the highest gear it can be in the most efficient mode possible, which I think this car does about 50 miles per gallon on the claimed combined cycle, so it's not too bad. And then you have Adaptive, which is where it's predicting how you want to drive and adjusting appropriately. So if you're driving in a very spirited mannered way, it will adjust the car to match the way it thinks you're wanting it to be. So probably most people will just stick it in that and leave it that way. You have, from a comfort point of view, we've got the Harman Kardon sound system in here. It's very luxurious. You can have climate seats, and you can have cooled and heated seats. The leather is comfortable to sit on. There's a lot of talk about the new leather in the car in the information and the press briefing. Gearbox is super smooth, as we know, and the ride softens up and it becomes a quiet, comfortable place to be, so no real dramas. I'd say the thing that it's lacking to me is that it's not game changing. It doesn't grab your heartstrings as a car. I think there are elements that could be perhaps, I don't know, slightly more exciting, slightly more different, slightly more out there. But when you come to ticking boxes, what you want this car to do, what you want it to be, it does all of that. And I think that's one of the things almost in the modern era, is that every car does everything so well. I'll talk more about this when I jump back to the outside and walk around it. But generally, just cruising along, letting it do its thing. There's not really too much more to tell you. Now, from the driving that I've been doing, I've been pushing the car fairly hard on twisty, tight, windy roads, and we're about to go into the raised speed limit again. So I'll press Sport mode, and we'll go into Sport Plus, extra dynamic setting. I'll put my foot down. Actually, I can use the paddles, why not? Down into the second gear here. Just hear a little bit of it towards towards almost the red line. It actually shifted up on my behalf significantly earlier than I would have chosen it to, and I think that's the character. Obviously you can put it in manual and hold it, that it's not a car that's designed to go, well, at least not in 30D diesel trim. It's not a car that's designed to go out and be driven desperately sportily, but at the end of the day, the most frequent models that will be bought will be the 20D and the 30D. Most customers still buying diesel versions of the cars. And actually thinking about sales of the cars, one thing they told us that I thought was quite interesting was that 2016, the last full year of the previous generation of X3, was actually its most successful for sales figures, and 2017 was looking set to beat that until the end of production of the car ready for the new model, which shows quite an intriguing demand from the market for these cars, for SUVs, smaller SUVs that serve pretty much every purpose in a typical driving environment. All the luggage you could need to transport around, stuff, ease of use, efficiency. They're becoming obviously more efficient, just general comfort, which I think that's quite interesting. What's actually been really fascinating to me as we come past some quad bikes, that would be really fun around where we are at the moment, is how much attention this car gets here. It's been a fascinating place to experience a launch event, just in terms of the things you see, the animals at the side of the road, the people just walking around, all of whom stare at what is a car that wouldn't necessarily stand out if you were in, if you're in London, for example, but here it just sticks out like a completely sore thumb. Anyway, we're going to head the final stretch now back towards the hotel. There are a couple more things I want to show you about the car, one or two more unusual features, we could say, and then maybe we'll go have a quick glimpse at the room, which is really something. Now that we're back at the hotel, a couple of other things to show you around the inside, a little bit of how this car basically works. So let's take a quick glimpse, I suppose, starting off in the center, and please do excuse the air conditioning. As you can see, it is very, very sunny right now, and the car is reporting 30.5 degrees Celsius, and it definitely feels like it. So you can control this obviously through the iDrive, where you have all sorts of different displays and the ability to move the tiles around and control different things. And this is the same system that we've seen before, so I've shown you in fairly significant detail when I've driven it before now. You can do everything exactly the same this way around. So into my vehicle, you get the point. You can click around and do exactly how you want, move the tiles to different places, or whatever you want from the entertainment system. So basically when you're driving, you're not going to do that because it's a bit fiddly. So when you're driving, use the iDrive. When you're parked, you can do everything through the touchscreen to make it a little bit easier. So the car has triple zone climate control, dual at the front, and a separate system in the back, of course. Everything you pretty much would want to have through that system. Above that, you've got your audio, CD slot still in here, and then these hotkeys that will take you straight to different things. So for example here, number 2, I notice as I touch those, they're actually touch responsive. You can see what they're highlighting to do. They take you, well, however you've got it set up. Let's have a look at xDrive status. So I should have done that when we were slightly tilted and at weird angles and things. Then you've got the upgraded digital cockpit. So this full Navigation Pro system comes standard on various different versions. So the M Sport versions of the cars, the M40i or this car, or standard I should say, included in the upgrade cost. They all work pretty well. This car's very nicely equipped, and maybe you could just see the head-up display that we've got in front of me. If it's flickering, that's due to frame rates and refresh rates, but it does a wonderful job. If I just quickly set a navigation destination of showing different commands, instructions and the like. So let's get this started right now, and you will be able to see. There we go. Very clean and clear information that you're looking at on the head-up display. So tech point of view, all very, very, very nice. 360 cameras. You can have the controller, the key for the car. I mean, this car has the standard key, but you can have the full key, normal X3 key. You can have the full display key, which will let you do parking and things from it as well. Although from this, you can leave the car and get a snapshot of what the cameras see at any time from the app on your phone, which is always a wonderful, wonderful thing. But let's stop it for a moment. Obviously this is fixed, no folding away. We've had for most of the drive the folding cover over the roof, just because the sun is so hot, but it is a very, very nice glass roof. I like the look of these
almost sail-like features of the lights and the gesture control sensors. And I'll actually, that carries through. There's another fun quirk on the outside where you see a bit of that, which I'll get to just out here. We're not going to be able to see it right now, but there is a light curtain that projects. So where you would normally have puddle lights outside the car, this car has a light that fully shines and illuminates that whole area, which is really, really nice. Just no chance it's going to work in this light. And as I come around the back, I realise quite how much of a mess we've made of this car. It is very, very dirty here. It has the M Sport brakes. Those are an upgrade or standard on the M Sport models. And generally, what else? The LED lights are standard. Giant strong kidney grills. Maybe there's a small chance on this side of getting some of the light to appear. I think it's very unlikely. Unfortunately, I can't show you that right now, but you'll just have to take my word for it that there is a really cool light stream that comes out of here in the dark. And the back, not really stepped in the back. The seats are quite far back right now. They're in a very relaxed position, so there isn't the most space, but there's room for it to move forward a touch. In the front, and then back here I suppose it works reasonably well. And then just while we're back here, actually there's not that much by way of blind spot back here either. It's quite a narrow D pillar, C pillar and D pillar relatively, so there's good visibility in the back. And then even here you've got an X. There are logos everywhere, as I mentioned earlier. And then you've got your triple zone climate control back here too for the rear seats. Step back out. What else can I tell you? I think actually that's pretty much all of the bases covered about the new X3. So just a couple of words and final thoughts, I suppose. Things I really like about the car. It has a very, very high technology level. Stuff we've seen in the 7 Series, in the 5 Series, making their way through the different models, whether that's safety features, comfort features, technology features. There is a lot. Things like parking the car from the key fob. That's just really quite cool. Then from the driver, it's very, very calm and peaceful and quiet. The acoustic glazing clearly does its thing. You hear a bit of the road noise from the tyres, but generally speaking, the wind noise is very, very well buffeted out, and it's a quiet, nice place to drive. And it's also a very practical car on the inside too. However, the looks of the car I do not think are necessarily the most inspiring. It's very much an X3, but would the casual observer know this was the new model X3 over the previous one? I'm not entirely sure. It sits very much positioned obviously between X1, X5 in terms of size, in terms of styling, but again, quite hard to tell the difference. And I think some of the alternatives on the market are perhaps a little bit prettier. However, for driving today, it has been wonderful. We've had a great time out in the car, but while we're back here at the hotel, I need to go and show you the room. So this is the Mandarin Oriental Marrakech. Now the Mandarin Orientals are always fantastic hotels. This is the main part of the hotel behind me, with various areas outside, but I have a villa. I think every room is actually a villa. This is quite neat over this way, so let's go find it. Welcome to my humble abode. Let's go ahead and have a look inside at this fairly incredible and very grand hotel room. So, are you ready for this? In we go. This is all my room. This is just my room in the hotel with a private pool. The bedroom's in there, sitting area, another sitting area, a kitchenette here at the back corner, another sitting area indoors under canopy here on this side. If we come through, this is just towels and sandals and everything. This is just incredibly cool as a hotel room. Outdoor shower. That is genuinely an outdoor shower. We come inside. Oh, nearly falling down there. We have the very spa-like bathroom with sauna controlled through another panel there, proper shower and indoor bits and pieces. This is the grandest hotel bathroom I think I've ever seen in my life. Bathroom, toilet, walk-in wardrobe. Then the bedroom. Lovely giant bed, naturally. BMW bottled water to finish the look. And also, if we come up here, there is a TV in there, which rises from one of these switches. There we go. Up comes the television, out at the end of the bed, as if by magic. And then you come through to the living room, the living area, where I've got all my stuff out, excuse that. Seating area with fruit and various bits and pieces on arrival, I think, every day. Another rather large television, naturally. And we go back outside to... yeah, this is
This is nice. I stayed in some very nice places. This is up there with the absolute best. So thank you to BMW. Wow, incredible. Thank you to you guys as well, of course, for watching this video. I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope you've had some interesting insight in the new X3. And perhaps you enjoyed seeing this wonderful place. I'm coming back here another time. This is just breathtaking. What a day, driving some amazing roads in a lovely new car. Some things that I think not necessarily 100% about it. Perhaps it's not the most exciting. It doesn't grab the heartstrings and make you say, you know, that's the one, that's the car. But then it does everything very well, perhaps almost too well. It does everything that it tries to do with the German quality, I suppose. It's just really, really good from that side of things. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed it. Thank you very much as always for watching. Make sure you're subscribed. Make sure you click that little bell down below as well to get notifications when new videos come out so that you don't miss them. That's it for now though. I'll catch up with you guys again very soon. Cheers.